Good morning, bears. Ooh, a hot one. Hot mic. Hey. What is happening? Hopefully everybody can hear me, and I set this up correctly. I was a bit concerned that coming back I'd wrecked up my setup, because I've done that more than once. Anybody hearing me, or are we not hearing me? Let me know if audio is working for you. And we will begin a wonderful day like today. Good morning. Guten Morgen there, Dom Tough. Good to see you. Oh, yeah, the video was coming. The video was definitely on its way. Had a feeling it would show up for you after a second or two. Just getting things moving a little bit. Dressed appropriately. Big thanks to Steve Pinder for also sporting a great shirt. Well, Bonnie Ann, we had to change that. You see, I make people mods at times, and then they come back in the channel at another time. Somehow their modship is no longer there. So maybe it takes a couple of times to get it to stick. I don't know what's going on with that. It's probably, hi BDB, or hi Bonnie Ann. I just read your comment, not your name. Yeah, I don't know what happens with that. I don't know why it goes down that way. But for whatever reason, the YouTubian powers that be, the WOJCICKI fascism, sees it fit to diminish your modship. So I'll just put it back. Hang on, let me switch this. Because apparently I'm only getting one side of my headphones today, and I can't tell you why. Probably because they're getting old and failing, but they're not that old. They shouldn't be having that problem. At any rate, let's see here. Today's episode is entitled Toes Going First, and I figured it was appropriate for a day like today. You see, a while back, my wife and I found out about this little town a little further north of here in Illinois. And this town was entirely populated, well, maybe not entirely, but largely populated. I think it was originally settled by Norwegian immigrants. And my wife has a decent degree of Norwegian heritage. So a name like Anderson is certainly Norwegian in its background, but she's got a mixture of other things too. Hey, Steve's here. Good morning, Steve. Thanks for wearing the shirt and showing that you're not a commie last night. I definitely appreciate that. Let's see here. So in this town, there's a little store, like the whatever you call it, the general store, gas station out front, all that kind of jazz. But they've got like a little supermarket inside, all this kind of deal. And they have a bunch of Norwegian memorabilia, Norwegian related items and things, foods, all that kind of stuff. Amongst that was this Norwegian joke book, which I found rather funny. It's almost like an Alfred E. Newman looking character there. I don't know why it's X-rated in Oslo, but it's just silly. Every bit of it is hilarious. Let's see. It's created by a guy named Red Stangland and his comedy partner Uncle Torvald. They are a popular performing act who have appeared at banquets and other festivities around the country. And so this is a creation of theirs. So their thoughts on this is that even sick people feel better after hearing or reading Norwegian jokes. Laughter is a great tonic. And they just had a number of funny things in here, but one in particular was most people know that TGIF means thank goodness it's Friday. So why is it that Norwegians put them on the back of their shoes? Because as they understand it, it means toes go in first. None of you lives in Torrance, California, do you? Because I'm suddenly getting a call from Torrance, California. I don't know why. I get calls from weird places around the world. If I don't recognize the number, if you don't tell me ahead of time that's who that is, I'm probably not going to pick up. But I got a weird Torrance, California number going on now. I didn't put the do not disturb thing on the phone for this morning. Now it's set. Let's see here now. There was something I was going to share in this. It was just funny. Some of these jokes were kind of hilarious. And the idea that people that are Norwegian in their background created it, means that this is self-deprecating comedy, It's very, very funny to me. Let's see here. The Norwegian, genuine Norwegian wood stove. It's an imported Norwegian pine, fireproof, reusable brass fixtures. That's the fixtures. Guaranteed to burn or your money back. $29.50 or $5 down and $5 a month for 30 months. And there's your Norwegian wood stove, right? And you're ready to go. That's the kind of... Hey, Tommy Lee's in here. And how does Tommy Lee not have a wrench? That's an oversight, of course. And we'll fix that. So, see, in my streams, I've gone the opposite direction, Tommy Lee, in case you weren't aware. You've been here before, so you kind of know. But I give everybody a wrench. As long as they're verified, as long as they're, not a troll. And if I discern otherwise, then, that's not going to happen. I try to vet people a little better. I've even got a furry who comes by from time to time. Charity. She's an interesting character. And so, yeah, we got all sorts of unique folks. But now the Chinaman, as it were, the Hmong, the one and the only beer selling Tommy Lee, has arrived. So we're always happy about that. Tommy Lee was coming over here, though, before he was a beer-selling Chinaman for Owen. Tommy Lee was coming here before he was tied up in the back of a Jewish man's truck. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, go ahead and, excuse me, be sure to check out Owen's channel and some of the bits from the Houston show that he recently did, the Black and White comedy special. And you'll know more about the Chinaman issues. If you want to know more about the being tied up at the back of a Jew's truck, be sure to check out Steve Pinder, 1911 Bears channel, because it's the good stuff. All of that. One moment. I need a bite of my cottage cheese. Wife bought a little of that the other day. That's always a treat. I used to not stand it much when I was a kid, but these days I can't get away from it. It's good protein. Good stuff. By the way, if you're wanting to feel better about yourself, if you're wanting the molecular structure of your body to be in perfect Star of David alignment, make sure to drink out of this Pinder's Ugly Mug. It will increase the molecular structure's Star of David alignment by 77%. It's rather important. So, why bring up this Norwegian joke book on a day like today? I might toss one more out, just a couple. I think it's okay. I don't think they'll mind because I'm promoting their product. I don't think there's a ton of places you can pick it up. Oh, okay. If you want extra copies of Norwegian jokes, send $3 post-paid per copy to Norse Press, Norse Press, P.O. Box 1554, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 57101. And you can get your own. So there, I've promoted it. Now I'm going to share a couple because they're hilarious, but not the whole thing. There's a whole deal there if you really want it. Oh, man. Why do Norwegians have such pretty noses? Because they're hand-picked. Right. Who won the Norwegian beauty contest? Nobody. That's messed up right there. Oh, man, the three shortest books ever written. That's probably one of my favorites. I'm trying to figure out where that one went because that was cracking me up. Because it's not just a dig at Norwegians, right? What are the three shortest books in the world? Number one, the Book of Italian Victories in World War II. Number two, the Irish Book of Etiquette. Those Irish, man. People, even Norwegians love to dig at the Irish. And then, of course, the Norwegian Book of Knowledge. The shortest books in the history of the world there. Let's see here. A Norwegian reading the Bible for the first time. He says a lot about St. Paul, but there's nothing about Minneapolis. There's a lot of Norwegians in Minnesota. Dom gets that one. So, how do Norwegians spell the word farm? E-I-E-I-O. That's how they spell farm. So that's the tenor of this little thing here. Yeah, I betcha, Dom. Yeah, I know Garrison Keillor, who was of the what was the name of that show that he used to, a radio show he had for a long time, the Prairie Home Companion. I used to listen to that often when I was a kid. My parents were big fans of the Prairie Home Companion. Of course, as I got older, I began to become much more aware of how, well, and it seemed like they went further left leaning. Yeah, I can't say I'm a fan as much now. Yeah, I don't know as much about Garrison, but I'm sure if there's dark stuff going on there or unpleasant stuff, I probably would enjoy it. Yeah, it's I don't know as much about it, but I do know that we listened to a lot of it when I was growing up. So he often did a lot of jokes about Norwegians. Had a whole book on it, I think. Or was it him that had that? But maybe it was somebody else. It was a whole book on how to speak Minnesotan, and it had a lot of books about Norwegian immigrants in there. Douche canoe. He's no good, huh? I don't know about all this. I wouldn't be surprised. As I got older, he came off that way. But yeah, yeah, he does have a lot of books. He's probably a cannibal. I don't know whether he's into the cannibalism thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's into the, weird sexual stuff. That's entirely possible. And was that why? See, a lot of people that I watched as a kid ended up having that kind of thing or in their past. I don't know all the deals. I know I used to watch a lot of PBS stuff. My folks were definitely into that quite a bit. Nice. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised there on a journey. Now, what am I thinking? Jeff Smith from the Frugal Gourmet. I was into that a lot as a kid. Just because my parents watched a lot of it and we were accustomed to tuning into that in the weekends. And then supposedly he had some issues with kids and doing stuff. I don't know whether that actually happened or not because I never heard more about it, but supposedly he was convicted or not. I don't know. I don't recall. Maybe somebody accused and he just said, well, forget this. I'm out of here. But again, it wouldn't shock me now that I'm older. Jeff Smith. Yeah. Yeah, he was such a cool dude. He was all into making like these cool, weird dishes. We're going to do that, Jay Wren. That's a good call. That ought to be a good thing to do today. I'm going to get to that. Not quite yet, but we will do that. That's a great idea. Thanks for suggesting. Let's see here. Bob Ross, I did look into Bob Ross, Warface. And let's think here. Bob Ross was in the military. He was in the Air Force for like 17 or 18 years. He became a master sergeant, and that's what I understand. And he yelled a lot, and he smoked a lot, and he was really tired of that. Sorry, excuse me. Hang on one second. Nose is bothering me, guys, a little bit today, and I'd rather not. Oh, that's better. I'd rather not go digging like a Norwegian on camera. So let's eliminate that as a problem. At any rate. Pardon me. Certain things about that guy's characters. What was I talking about? No, I got distracted. Bob Ross. That's where I was at. He hated the kind of person he was when he was active, when he was in the military for so long. He got out of it, and he wanted to do something that helped him be a peaceful individual, a God-fearing man. In whatever way he was a God-fearing man. I don't know if his was more Christianity or if it was more of like a spiritualistic kind of thing or what. I'm not 100% sure on that. But he wanted to do things that helped him be a lot more chill. And he learned this quick painting style, this easy to learn painting style. And he wanted to share that with people. and he really went above and beyond with it from what his mentor taught him in that stuff when he started to learn the painting thing. And he wanted to share that piece that he had by digging into that. He was into tree spirits. I wouldn't be surprised if he was. He talked a lot about God on the show, but that's a very general term for a lot of people. God can mean different things to different folks. Oh, you know, it's all on Amazon Prime, I think, the last I checked. They had The Joy of Painting on Amazon Prime. You can see that whole series. I've showed a few episodes to the kids. It's kind of cool, you know. Some of his attitude was pretty funny. Let's take that brush. Let's just beat the devil out of it. He just take that brush and like knock it between the rails of his easel. It was always ridiculous, and he reminded me in some ways of like my grandmother at times. You know, it's this really easy, laid back attitude. You know, very chill. Although my grandma can get pretty intense at times too. You don't mess with her. But so could Bob Ross, I imagine. He'd bring these little like baby squirrels that he'd raise and stuff on the show. Just weird different things. And yeah, he always had a real chill attitude on camera, but maybe he was a completely different person off camera. I don't know. I do know that the family wasn't too happy about Steven Crowder doing, Bob Ross painting Muhammad. You know, that was a no-go for them. Because it was a violation of Islamic law, and they were concerned about that. So he said, I'm going to do that anyway, multiple times over. He had a squirrel rescue. It's entirely possible. So, yeah, excuse me. I know Jeff Smith had some sordid past. Kevin Clash, who was the puppeteer that did Elmo, amongst numerous other Sesame Street and Muppet characters, apparently had some issues with underage people, supposedly. I don't know the details for sure, but I've heard that was the case, and that he stepped down being puppet captain. But when your job title is puppet captain, that's got to make a few people like put their eyebrows up if they're paying attention. Really, puppet captain? Anyway, it just doesn't sound right now, and maybe everything's tainted for me because there's so much horrendousness in the world. Yeah, that's really funny to me now that I thought of that. It's funny and sad. Anyway, that's not what I was trying to talk about today. I got sidetracked a little bit on the dirtiness of some people, thanks to who did I bring up that I didn't realize was a dirtbag? Garrison Keillor. Yeah, that got us up. Thanks, Garrison Keillor. Appreciate that. Do the Fallon thing. Thank you, Garrison, for derailing my show once again with your pedophilistic tendencies and whatever other grody-ness. Maybe it wasn't pedophilia. Maybe it was just assault. Cottage cheese. Good stuff. It's great on pancakes, by the way. If you haven't done cottage cheese with maple syrup on your pancakes, wow. It's so good. It's so good. Let's see here. Let's see now. So, that joke, that first one, toes going first. Sometimes I can be a little thick myself, and I can miss simple things. Yet at the same time, I get a little frustrated with people who miss simple things. But the humility thing that I've been talking about some this week and other times, why that's so important, and how we go about, I guess, maintaining it, is to be able to look at ourselves and recognize we've said and done some dumb stuff sometimes. We have our moments, and to know that that's going to happen, but to not, like, you can go to different extremes with that. You can go to the extreme of being like, I'm going to totally condemn myself, like, what an idiot. And at the other extreme, you can say, well, I'm going to use it as a tool to become better, and I must ignore those things. I overlook, try to push that aside. I don't want people to notice when I made that mistake. I've got to overcome that and get better. It's got to be a tool, but I can't be honest about it. I have to sort of hide my idiocy and I was okay. I don't want to draw attention to this. I want to move forward. Both extremes are ridiculous when you over condemn and when you over convict yourself toward change. Conviction is a much better thing than condemnation in the way you approach moments when you do dumb stuff. because it's too much to one side, too much condemnation for yourself, and you're in pity party town. You know, you're just eating yourself alive over making a silly mistake. And that's not helpful. Now, granted, there are some things that are beyond silly mistakes. There are things that are a lot more serious in their consequences. And I've had moments like that. I've done those types of things at times, and it really, really affected me for a while. I'd be like, oh goodness, you know, how am I going to get past this stupid move? But you can get past the stupid moves. You can grow, and you can, let me think here. You can use them as a stepping stone to improve your overall awareness of what's going on around you. We used to say situational awareness in the military. We still use that term. Just having greater understanding, greater awareness to the high priority details in a situation, right? Being able to, I don't even know where you guys are at. You're talking about kale and water and eggs and lemon. Are you talking about for pancakes? Juke and shimmy. Nice, guys. You guys are so funny over there. The chat can be hilarious in these videos. I warn people to be careful when they watch my videos to get into the chat. Just know that it's not going to be, how shall we say, G-rated all the time, because I know people will say things. And there are squirrels that will repetitively put things down. Thankfully, I have the power of timeout now, so I can use my power and get drunk with it. And then become, you know, the next Wrenchner, and somebody will be making a video off of me. Someone's getting an idea. I knew they might. I almost triggered them to get an idea. They're jumping out going, whoa, I know who you are. Just try it there. Just try it there, buddy. I've got the timeout ready for you. You'll be sitting in the corner, staring at the wall. Oh, you do? Well, if you dare me, I'd be happy to. Of course, I know you're going to come back with other accounts. So, so at any rate, I'm going to move forward for the moment. Don with a dunce cap. Yeah, all his accounts dunced, right? Thank you, Yukon. That's exactly right. He wants me to time him out now. That's what he wants. But for the moment, I'm going to grant him some grace, and I'm going to focus on what it is I'm here to discuss, because I think you all might benefit. I hope it's useful. I hope it's useful. So let's see here. Howdy, Big Riggin. Is that a wave? All right. All right. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Got him. And anybody else want to take care of this for me? Go ahead, and if Dom pops back in with another account, you go ahead and you time that account out if you know who he is, right? You feel free. At least for the next 10 minutes, right? Just over the next 10 minutes. Beyond that, no more. Oh, there he is. There he is. Get him. Get him. Go ahead. First one to do it. Go for it. See, I just sick the other mods on you, and you'll have no chance. You got two people doing it. There's the third one. Get him. Get him. Is he doing the thing? Wait a minute. The Dom Tough was already timed out. How can Dom Tough make a comment? Yeah, get him. So what is that? How could he come back? Somebody tell me how he's able to come back. What's going on with that? It's multiple people timing him out. That's so funny. Dom was hidden. The hidden is funny. Hidden's very funny. Everybody's throwing a timeout at you, dude. That's insane. You asked for it. I think you enjoy You know, and I think maybe he's got some plans up his sleeve. Like he's going to try and figure out, oh, Steve resurrected him? What's this? So you've got your people. Is that what this is? They're like trying to divide the viewers on this channel. That's funny. Oh my goodness. If he appears again, if he appears on another name, get him. There are spies in here. Spies. If we find out who those spies are, they're going down. All right. So I'm getting on this subject here. I'm going to talk for a minute. When he's back, let him be back. Unless he starts to dominate the chat. Dominate, right? Over-dominate. So that people can have conversations. Because that's what it's for. It's funny once. It's not funny 20 times. So, let's see here. I looked at the TGIF joke and I thought about the humility thing. That's where I was talking about that. How do we go about, hey, Honky, what's up? I saw you say hello. Are you singing an Adele song? Yeah, kick you. You totally did. All right. So, oh, scroll up. What'd you say? Honky said something that I missed. I missed entirely. BDB, did you check out Devon Lamar and my DMs? You never reply. Yeah, dude, that's not personal. If I haven't gotten back to you, it's just because I'm stupid busy, especially in this last couple weeks. I've done all this stuff down at my grandma's where I have next to no signal. And I had multiple lessons yesterday, and I've had other lessons throughout the week that I've been trying to get to, plus things around the house. So if I don't get back to your messages right away, it's not personal. It's just because I'm otherwise occupied, and I will at some point. Some of them I've gotten, and if I don't, like, I even do this when I'm teaching lessons. I want to send, I've not listened to Delvon Lamar yet. I'm going to do that. But yeah. Oh, you know, I love seeing drummer stuff for sure. So here's an example. That's exactly. Intelligent busy is not what I often am. If it was intelligent busy, then it'd be busy for like good reasons, like organized busyness. And I often am not. It's chaotic. So it's stupid busy. There's probably better ways to go about doing things. But so I'm teaching a lesson yesterday. And as I'm leaving, I'm mentioning to the mom, I'm going to go ahead and send you some video clips that I want the student to watch this week. I'll text it to you and have him watch these YouTube clips of, I think, Neil Peart from Rush, and then a couple of this other drummer named Dom Famulero, was one of my favorites. Super, super cool. So I've meant to do things like this, or I meant to send them other information in previous lessons. But if I get caught up with something, someone else takes my attention, I know I'm going to not remember to get that done. So I did say Rush. I got this guy hooked already, Liberty Snake, on YYZ. I played it for him on his tiny little electric kit. And it was perfect because it tied right into our lessons about paradiddles, you know, the drum rudiment that Neil Peart is using an awful lot in that and certain sections of that song. So it was a good example of how you practically use rudiments like paradiddles and other types of things like rolls and things that come into place a lot of that in that song. So I was going to send this, and I'm like, I know if I don't do this now, it won't get done. So I sat down right then and there. I had to do it then because I had time. I actually had a few minutes to do it. So I'm getting better about putting reminders in there with some Siri help or something else, saying, remind me in about 30 minutes when I know I'm going to have time to do this action or that action. So I'm getting better at finding ways to be less stupid busy and more intelligent busy. I really like that, Steve. That's a great way of putting that. But yes, I'm going to check out what you sent me because you know I always like to dig into music and drummers. So if I haven't got back to you, it's not personal. It's not like I'm trying to ignore you. I just have lots of things to do around here to make sure that we keep living. So there's stuff that I haven't done yet that I want to do for me, right? I haven't even gotten there. So that's what happens. But I love getting in here, doing the show, and spending time with you guys. This is one of my favorite parts of the day, and I'm glad I could do this today. So eventually, right? Finally. Now, humility. That's back where I'm at. How do we go about having that? Well, I think it's this balance, this stream that goes between the two shores of condemnation and conviction, right? If you go too far to the condemnation side, you're going to be in pity party land, right? Which I talked about before. But if you're going too far to the other side of conviction, you're going to be all like militant, like I will achieve, blah, blah, blah. And you're so hyper-focused on achievement and moving forward and all that kind of thing, you can easily miss certain other things that you need to be focused on. You can get tunnel vision on what you're trying to achieve. You can get tunnel vision on that conviction. And I talk about my teaching philosophy that comes out of... welcome back, Dom. I talk about my teaching philosophy. It comes out of Luke 2:52, which is to grow in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and with man, as Jesus did. I want to encourage all musicians to grow in those areas: mental, physical, spiritual, and relational. You need all of those in order to move on. So hang on a second. Kodiak, you have 2 prayer requests. Stand by one. I'm going to see. I noticed that. I just barely caught that. I'm going to write them down. I'm going to make a new notes file to take care of this stuff, and that way I can remember. BDB prayer requests. Let's do that. Let's type this in here. Okay, Kodiak. Go ahead. Hang on a second. So, okay, we got that. Oh, am I spiraling, guys? I'm spiraling on my end. That doesn't look good. It's not a good thing. Dom Tough is a bit of a hoot. If you guys are seeing a spiral, let me know, because I'm not supposed to be. Might have lost you for a bit because I tried to open another app. No spirals? Cool. Yeah, it was definitely spiraling on my end, but that's my computer. All right, so your daughter went to ER after first seizure last night. She's 10. Michaela, let's see, Glampenbear, can we pray for my grandpa going in for neck surgery today? He's 84 and it's pretty invasive. So that was 2 of you. Oh, okay. Glampen's prayer. Gotcha. That was you typing that. Just trying to keep track. I think I've got it all now. Everybody's all good. Cool. Let's see. When you're down in Acuna and... Wow. That's pretty whack job. You guys are funny. Yes, I understand you're a Blexican. I get it. I understand that, Dom Tough. And an annoyed one with cancerous AIDS. It makes plenty of sense to me. Okay, so I'm just taking on the prayer request thing there. I've got yours. Yeah, so Glampins and Kodiaks. Okay. So, boom. There we go. Just separating those out. Make sure I know who's who. And I'll bring that before some other folks who are far more intensive warriors in the prayer field than I. And not in too extreme a detail, just enough that they know, you know, that there's someone that needs prayer here about something. But, yeah, man, this is a good idea. Anybody else that might want to be on the BDB prayer list, I'll go ahead and I might as well make this a thing. You know, this might be a good time and place to start this. Hey, Boulder's up in here. Dude, yes. Yes. Love chunk shirts. Which one? Are you a Builder? Are you wearing the white one or the gray one today? Because I'm so psyched that you got two. Your son's going to play at the Macy's Day Parade? What? That's ridiculous. That's awesome. Honky Bear says the press is on Kodiak. Okay. Faith over fear, his glory and our good. Absolutely. No, I'm waiting just to see if there was anybody else that had a prayer request that I could put down on my list. Feel free to share that, and I'll go ahead and write it down on the BDB prayer request list. In fact, I'll just show you right now what I'm doing. This is how we do it. Pull up my, put my rusty BDB notes file. And where'd it go? Where you are? There you are. See, right there. That's what we do. Oh, well, you can't see it yet because I didn't cut over to it. Right there. That's what we do. That's what we're doing. So I'll just get you tucked in right there, and we'll get the prayer request rocking. Just don't see red. Kodiak, you're awesome, dude. Yeah, absolutely, Honky. Thank you, Honky. I'm gonna lead a group one here before we're out, but oh, Cabby. Yeah, let me get Cabby. Okay, Cabby 1. Gotcha. Copy. Let me add that to the list. So this is kind of feeding right into what I was talking about. How do we stay in places of humility? One of the ways is to be not focused so much on ourselves, but focused on the needs of other people. And I think that helps you be more effective. I think when you're stuck in your own headspace, right? When you're stuck thinking about, how do I do X, Y, or Z the way I need to? How do I, hey, Barry Happy, glad you could join us. No problem. Doing dishes, that's a fantastic thing right there. And that's so great that you brought that up. I love it. I'm gonna speak about that. I was thinking more about this topic of humility this past week when I've been with my grandmother. We can get overly convicted. Like I said, we can go to that extreme where we can get overly condemned when we screw up, but know that you screw up and move on, because there's still stuff to do. There's people waiting on you, counting on you. Are you going to get it perfect next time? Are you going to screw up more? You're not going to get it perfect. You are going to screw up more. Those are going to happen. That's the long and short of it. That's mostly just the short of it. So how do you pursue it? What do you do to go about pursuing humility in your life? I think stay away from the extremes of that. Know that you can go to those extremes easily and that they're going to be debilitating towards you, right? You're probably going to make more screw ups when you go to either of the extremes. I know I had a morning Saturday where I was going to drill weekend for the airbase, and I started out, it was Sunday actually. I started out the day messing things up. I made a mistake right up front, and I started to make a couple other mistakes as soon as I got there. And I knew that I had a history of making this a pattern. Like if I got into one big mistake where I was like, gosh darn it, I'm screwing up. Even if the consequence for that wasn't extreme, like my own mind about it, like, okay, I gotta get it right. I gotta get super convicted and change this, turn this around now. Like, no, I was wrong. I have no excuse for it, and just move forward. Right? Don't keep doing it. Like NCIS. is a TV show that's been on for a long time, and the guy that played the boss for a long time, Mark Harmon, his character Gibbs used to say it all the time. It's like, don't apologize. It's a sign of weakness, right? He'd be saying that. He's like, I don't want you to say that. I want you to say it won't happen again. I'm going to change the behavior. I don't want you to be like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to appease your emotions. I want you to change your behavior. That's what's meaningful. So he always tells me, I don't just get it right, you know? And that's the response they have. And I've thought a lot about that kind of thing. And I want to be focused when I make a mistake or when I screw up on, okay, let's not do that again. But I can get so much in that mindset that I'm like off kilter. I'm off my game, just screwing more stuff up, making dumb mistakes here or there. And they compound. So I have to intentionally take a moment, stop, decompress, right? Just breathe, resettle myself, whatever I have to do, get myself otherwise focused. Get focused on something for somebody else. Get out of my own headspace. That's a big part of it. I can't be overly thinking about, oh, how I screwed it, how I'm going to change it. I have to just continue forward and think about, okay, somebody else needs something done. What do they need? And think about that person, what they need in that moment. Help to take care of that. It's like, okay, we get this done. Just focus on that. Not too fast, not too slow. Just focusing on doing something that needs done. Getting out of your own headspace is super important, because if you don't take the time to do that, like intentionally do that, you're just going to be hitting walls. You're going to be running around like a chicken with its head cut off and not even see it until you start banging into walls. I mean that both figuratively and literally. I've done both. But this week while I've been with my grandmother, I've had opportunities to do dishes a lot. I may have mentioned this previously. I don't recall. I used to loathe doing dishes. I was horrible at doing dishes. I use the word horrible, like I was atrocious at getting myself to get dishes done. There were times where I was struggling to learn how to accomplish dishes by hand in any kind of timely fashion, you know, because I didn't have a dishwasher for a good period of time, and they would pile up. I would be tired. I would be very, very tired and not get to finishing them, or I'd see this amount that was building up and I'd be like, how am I going to get all this done? And then pay attention to other things at the same time that need my attention. And sometimes I'd try to stay up late just working on them, and it would take me 2 hours to get certain amounts of dishes done. But that is no longer a concern for me. Like I would probably labor over an individual dish a little too long, right? Like the process was being done in such a way that was massively inefficient, and then I'd be distracted by other things. An ADD-minded individual trying to get any one task, like a mundane, straightforward task done with any degree of speed or consistency, or efficiency, that's the word I wanted, not consistency. That's horrendous. From that time, 6 years ago or so, to now, my whole mindset in getting that stuff accomplished is radically changed. Radically changed. Like, I can get a sink full of dishes done in about 5 to 10, maybe less. Maybe less than 10, somewhere between 5 and 10, right? Probably not. Yeah, it depends. It depends. But I get them done and I get them clean, right? Now, I prioritize. I understand how to prioritize, and I've done it enough times now where I can do it much more rapidly. I'm not going to spend a lot of my time on the big honking huge stuff that's got baked on whatever first. I'm going to let that soak and leave that for later, right? I'm going to take care of the other stuff that I can get rinsed out and cleaned up quicker first, and get them in a drying rack or put them down on a towel to dry out. And I work very, very, very quickly on it. It's weird. It's just so strange to see the difference. But when I was doing stuff like that this past week, hey, peace, Kodiak. You take it easy. I'm sorry. I wanted to get to Kodiak before you left. You know what? I'm gonna do that before we're done today. We're gonna be putting you up in prayer, man. I just wanted to say that here for a moment. I wanted to get down the line because I'm never finished talking about what I'm talking about. I was focused this week on making sure that stuff was taken care of so that my aunt didn't have to deal with it and that my grandmother would be squared away because she had enough stress with things happening to her, changes happening in life. And it only took me a little bit of time to get that task done on multiple occasions. So, and I wasn't wildly screwing it up. I wasn't dropping dishes and breaking things or just running into walls or whatever you want to call it. Neither. You know, I might make a minor mistake here or there, but if I have the humility to say, if I practiced having the humility to say, that's likely to happen at times, not so much that I'm like, I don't care if it happens, so it's cool if it happens again, but instead saying, okay, when it happens, because from time to time it might, I don't have the time to waste and beat myself up. That's not going to help me change it. I need to say, okay, that was silly. That shouldn't happen. Laugh it off a little bit. Say, I know what I need to do to fix that. Take a quick breath, slow down, finish what I'm doing, and see if I can not make similar mistakes. But just get done what needs to get done. Focus on the individual moment and get it right. And keep moving. I think that's true, not with just doing dishes, but with any task where you have stuff to do, where you're trying to focus on doing something that benefits others and helps others out. Just focus on taking care of the task, right? Be in that moment, take care of what needs to get done. Spend the time earlier thinking about what other stuff needs to happen. You know, if something comes up in the midst of what you're doing, take a stop for a moment, just think real quick, okay, I'm going to have to finish this up and then get to that. Or maybe it's something I have to stop right now. I'm going to come back in a few minutes, put a reminder for myself, whatever I have to do, come back to this thing, but this has to go get done now. And you'll find yourself getting better and better at it. You'll find yourself having less and less screw ups, I think, in my experience at least. And you'll find that your mindset is where it ought to be, not in condemnation or over conviction, but just getting stuff done because it needs to happen. And yes, you're going to have times where you're mentally and physically exhausted trying to get certain things done to care for other people and yourself, but you're going to be less focused on the discomfort when your focus is out on others. And the more that you find opportunities to practice this, the more that you overtly think about this is what I need to do and this is how to go about it to practice humility, the more you're going to naturally have it. It's the same that I when I teach students about how to become better musicians and we talk about learning your major scales. I just had this conversation with a couple students this week. You need to go and write out your major scales 25 times this week. All 15 major scales 25 times. Don't copy off of previous ones where you got it right. Use the whole step, half step, whole step, half step pattern. And do the math, right? Don't double any letters in the pattern. Don't skip any letters. And that'll help you determine whether it's going to be a sharp or a flat or a natural note, whatever the case may be. You're going to be able to work out your scales perfectly each time. And then you won't have to think about it. You'll just do it. You'll be like Harold Green, who can say, he doesn't do all 15. He just does the 12, because remember, 3 of those major scales were what we call enharmonic, and they're the same notes but different names, because it'll be either a C sharp or D flat, an F sharp or a G flat, or a B natural and a C flat. Those are the 3 duples. So he can just take, the D flat instead of the C sharp, because you already have a C major, right? He'll take the, I think he does the F sharp instead of the G flat. I could be wrong. And then he'll do the B natural instead of C flat. That makes more sense. So 12. And he can say all 12. He can speak all 12 in under 30 seconds. I've watched him do it more than once. It's mind-blowing. All of the 12 fundamental major scales in under 30 seconds. That's insane. That's ridiculously fast. That's 7 times 12, right? So what's 7 times 10 is 70. So 14 more is 84. 84 note names in under 30 seconds. That means he's saying more than 2 of them a second. That's insane. No, hold on. No, I'm right. I wasn't doing math right in my head for a second. I thought I wasn't. But that's mind blower. Super crazy. But you just do it instinctively. And what's great about that? What's practical about that? Now he instantly can know, B flat major 7 chord. I know that that's B flat, D, F, and A. I know what notes are in that chord instantly, right? I just have to remember my scales, and boom, I know what notes are in this chord. Or D minor 7 flat 5. I know that that's going to be D, F, A flat, and C. I think actually it should be, yeah, C. I'm right. I know my stuff. No, I'm wrong. I said D flat. No, D. I said D minor 7 flat 5. So it would be C. I just had to go over real quick in my head, and I got it. D minor 7 flat 5 is a D, F, A flat, and C. So we can call that stuff up like that because we know our scales. And Harold will do it even faster and be more assured, right? Because he's in there writing stuff. He's using these chords, so he's seen the chord several times. Flat 5 is A flat. Exactly. That's the jazz way of saying a half diminished chord. The classical musicians will call it a half diminished. Exactly, Andrew Bergen. Exactly. You don't believe it? A flat minor, the guy at the bottom of a mine shaft. Is he Norwegian? Is that what that is, Yukon? That's funny. Oh, my goodness. Honky says, I just figured out that I can keep the chord shape on the guitar and move up the neck and figure out what chord it is. I need to sit at piano with the guitar to see how the individual notes relate. You know, that's a great idea, and I should probably do another stream soon on some of that type stuff so you can compare the two and have a better sense of that. Did Owen start, by the way? Is he doing his thing now? Because if he is, I'll pop out so he can do his deal. Oh, that's awesome. Cool, I just got some good news. I'm going to have a job next week, like for the whole week. So that's a good thing. I'm grateful for that. I probably need to put in another one of those things. That's cool. Rock on. Okay. Just checking. Yeah, cool. So he's not up yet, but we were joking about it at the top of the stream there. Very happy. My wife is very Norwegian, so in her heritage. So we picked this up recently, this little Norwegian joke book, and it's written by Norwegians, which is so funny. I don't know why they say it's X-rated in Oslo. None of the jokes are that racy, but some of them are pretty rough. Yeah, you might like that. It's pretty funny. Go check out the beginning. I'll talk more about it there. At any hoot, so let's take these things to prayer that we had talked about before. You know, if there's anybody else who wants to be put on the BDB prayer request list, let's do that now, because I think that's a worthwhile thing. It's a good way to take a Friday. Yes, that's exactly who it is, Barry Happy. Oli and Lena stuff. This is the same people. That's hilarious that you know about that. Yeah, that's what that's about. Oh, excuse me. Let's see here. Tommy Lee said he needed to be added. I missed it. What'd you say, Tommy? What can I lift you up about, man? What can the Bears lift you up about? I'm looking for it. What'd you say, Tommy Lee? Add you. Oh, for sure, Bisky. Let's see. Hang on. Trying to grab a hold of it. Oh, sure. Oh, I'm losing it. There we go. Gotcha. Let's copy them. So copy. I got Boulder and I got, excuse me, I got Bisky. And Tommy. Yeah, I hear you, man. I think I saw that in the chat last night, just briefly, that you were talking about that. Oh, it posted your picture, Boulder. That's kind of funny. I wasn't trying to. I don't know if that's wise. Okay. Could be dangerous to have Boulder's picture. Let's go here. There we go. Okay. For Genius Bear. I don't know about them. And then, let's see. Bisky. I'm getting you added. I'm trying anyway. And then Tommy Lee, the Chinaman. All right. So cool. All right. Well, I'm glad, Tommy. I'm glad. You mean this stream? Well, I'm grateful. Listening to this stream was helpful, man. It's tough going through different crud that you go through. Everybody's is unique to them, you know. Excuse me. Everybody has different stuff that they're dealing with, and you know, you might be having way more intense stuff, you know, going on in your life. I've been through divorce, you know, honky. You know, you've talked about it here. You've been through loss of family, of your dear wife, and I know people that have lost kids, which has got to be insane. I know people that are struggling with health issues beyond what we have the capacity to know. Tommy Robinson, we all know about, going through prison and likely violent death was the probability for quite a while there. And thanks to this community, that was affected in some way. We had an impact on that. I can't really say we, because I wasn't there for that song, but I did share it. You know, I did push people to, hey, you got to check this out and get into it. So I played a part, but it was small, you know, but we all played some part. And that's the thing. We can all lift each other up in some small way when we see another one going through extreme circumstances of one kind or another. So it's important that you not get any conceit in your own pain, you know, and somebody else brings it up. And it's reminding me of a Brian Regan bit. Brian Regan talks about, you know, going to the hospital and he's not feeling so great. And, you know, the nurse is asking him, he's like, how would you rate your pain on a scale of 1 to 10? And he's trying to figure out like what he should say. He's like, I can't say 10. You know, because he heard like the worst pain in the world you could hear or you could have was like cracking your femur bone or something like that. So it's like, well, I didn't do that, so I can't say 10. We got a stomach ache or something. And he's like, you know, he didn't know why he wouldn't say it, because he's like, what is some, you know, there's some person from the femur bone cracked ward here in the hospital that's going to come down. He's like, who in the heck had the audacity to say he was at level 10, you know? I'll show you a 10. You know, here's a sledgehammer. Come here, Mr. Tummy Egg. It was cracking me up. So funny. Oh, Big Riggin had one. Okay, I gotta backtrack because I miss Big Riggins. But oh, dude, that's fantastic, Big Riggin. I'm gonna write that down. Yeah, that's a praise. We got to include praises here. It's not just about, you know, supplications or requests, but it's about what you're grateful for. That's another reason to pray, you know, whether you believe in God or not, you know, start there, start with that as you're on your journey, trying to figure it out, because just being willing to open lines of communication, even if they're possibly there, that's going to put sense of gratitude in you, and you need that. And I think that'll be an opening to learn more. Yeah, our idea of an answer, you know, a good answer is not necessarily what his ideas are, right? We should get a prayer hangout line. Maybe I'll open one. Maybe I'll start that, and I'll invite some of y'all to get in on that. That might be a good idea. Yeah, that's fantastic, Big Rig. That's super great, man. So, yeah, Regan is talking about being at a level of pain there. It's like he just has to go with an 8 because then he thinks, I can't say childbirth, you know, because there's no way I'm at that level of pain. And then he's like, I wonder if a worse kind of pain could be like having a kid going into labor, like when your femur bone's cracked. That's got to be crazy, insane, painful. So, yeah, there's always one of my favorites, always one of my favorite comedians. But yeah, the idea I get from that is don't judge somebody else's pain, you know, to be worse or less than your own. In a sense, it's like just focus on not the pain, but moving beyond it, because all the pain's going to do is debilitate you and stop you. Figure out what you've got to do to get beyond it, because while you're in the midst of it, while you're focused on it, it's going to debilitate you and draw your focus away from other things. But when we share it, that's the old that's that Colonel Grossman quote: "Pain shared is pain divided. It's broken down. Joy shared is joy multiplied." That's the equation. That's how it tends to work out. So, in prayer, I'm going to take these things. If somebody else had something, feel free to message me off a line here, because I must have missed it by this point. But I'll never get to reading them if I don't do it now. All right, let's take these 7 things here. What's 7? That's a good, nice, complete number. How about that? Almighty Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for the opportunity to come commune here on the YouTube. Of all places, we come together on a place like YouTube. It's kind of interesting. And we get to share our unique thoughts and ideas together, our experiences, and hopefully that the sharing of that improves the experiences that we have in some way. We're uplifted by other people's experiences or comforted in some way to know that we're not alone. We want to put before you Kodiak. Be with Levi and as his daughter, excuse me, Michaela is at the ER, or she's I don't know if she's done at the ER or not, if she's back, but whatever's going on, that you would continue to watch over her and see her to be brought back to full health. Whatever is causing the seizures, that the doctors would be able to know very, very acutely and provide clear remedy to move beyond that as a problem for her. For Glampin, can pray for her grandpa going in for neck surgery today, and that surgery would be successful, that you'd guide the hands of the surgeons, that you would guide their minds to be fully aware of what it is they need to do every step of the way, and guide their hearts to be making the right choices, those choices that are thinking of what's best for their patient. For Cabby number 1, her great-grandpa is starting to lose his faith. Or is it his? I'm sorry, Cabby, if I'm calling you the wrong gender there. Cabby number 1's great-grandpa is starting to lose their faith. And I know Cabby's father is trying to get him back on the path. And I don't know all the history there, but you do. You know what each of those people experiences and what they need. Whatever doubts they're walking through. whatever words Cabby's father needs. Draw the hearts of everybody there toward humility. Draw them back to focusing on the service of others. Perhaps the reality of you, the truth of you, can be found there in this situation, but you know best. You know what's needed. So we pray that you'd see that manifest. For Bisky, she's going through some health issues. You understand the details there as well. You understand the emotions of uncertainty, and that those can sometimes be the most frustrating, to not know what's to come. But you built us in this life to be able to see back in time a little bit with our memories, and to move forward but not see. We can't move back and live in the times of our memories, but we can certainly move forward to make new memories. And so since we can't know the future, we can't look forward in our memories. Like that doesn't work that way. We have to trust you because you see all of it simultaneously. You've guided my wife and I in a number of things where we didn't know what was to come, but you've consistently been there and provided. There are things that are inexplicable in my experience. I don't know how else to explain it. And so it seems most reasonable to assume that you've been there the whole way providing, and that you'll do the same in Bisky's situation. I have no doubt. For Boulder brings up his friend Genius or Genghis Bear. I wasn't sure if I got the spelling right. And he's in the midst of deep depression and addiction. Whatever the triggers were that put him in that position to depend on substances to try and keep his mood stabilized, to keep his mind together in some way, it's destroying him. Father, you can break into the midst of that right where he's at. You know what started the pain, and you know other people that know how that pain began, how that deep dive began. You know how to reach through and help those people's focus shift so that they can choose to turn their thoughts away from whatever's dragging them down and choose to refocus their thinking on moving forward on a direction that's going to restore them to living as completely as they're able. Now, we don't walk away from those kinds of situations without scars, but then you use those scars, those memories, those experiences, you use those in us to speak into the lives of other people. So our prayer is that you would use the scars, the pains of others to speak into the life of this person, of Genius Bear, and then that you could in turn put him in a place to do the same. And to know that Genius Bear has a destiny, he has a purpose, and that he's needed to fulfill that. So that it's incumbent upon him to come out of this because he's needed. So we pray that you'd communicate that as effectively as you know how, straight to the heart of Genius Bear. For Tommy Lee, I know Tommy Lee has been in a relationship for some time, and now that's ended. And Father, I know I've watched multiple friends of mine go through some of the most gut-wrenching relationship ends, myself included. The most important thing that you've taught me in the midst of that is that that's again not the end, that we move forward, that you've got something better in store for us than we could have ever imagined. And you also taught me in the midst of those things, and I know you've taught my other friends that have been through these things too, that now that they're not in the relationship, they have an opportunity to step back and take time to make themselves the best catch they can be. You gave me time to think about, how can I become a better man? How can I start practicing living as a better servant for whoever it is you bring alongside me, so that I can focus on keeping the lines of communication open continually in the midst of that relationship, that I can take that next relationship you bring me more seriously. Or perhaps there won't be one for a period of time. It depends on each person's situation. You know what's best for each of us. And maybe it's not in our best interest to be jumping back into one right away. But you did say that in the beginning that it is not good that man should be alone. And I think for most of us, you've intended that there's probably a mate out there to help us, because by ourselves, we kind of wreck things once in a while as men. We're kind of champions at that. So pray that you would you'd give Tommy Lee focus on growing as a man, and to be just ready, just prepared and ready, and doing things, productive things in the meantime, but just being ready to be the best catch he can for whoever you'll bring along to him. And that it would be the most amazing experience he's ever had, that he'll cherish that person. He will work to build that relationship every day, and that it will be that relationship will function as a platform for both him and her, whoever she may be, to serve you better in everything they think, say, and do. Lastly, we want to offer up a thanks and praise from Big Rig and Bear, that James had an opportunity to reconnect with his brother after contention for over a year. For relationships to be broken, it hurts your heart, because you've got broken relationship between yourself and many, many people in this world. And you constantly look to see that ended. You constantly look to see that changed and turned around. And especially between each other, you want us to restore relationships. Thank you that they were able to find common ground to speak, and that the wounds from past hurts can be healed, even just a little bit in some way, so that they can begin to have a relationship again, because that's where the healing will happen most deeply. It doesn't happen as well when they're separate. The pain becomes duller. It doesn't hurt in the same ways, perhaps, but it doesn't really heal. So thank you that they now can commune. Thank you that they can have the opportunity to build each other up. And hopefully through their relationship as brothers, become better men, better servants to you. Thank you for bears. Thank you for this community. Thank you for Owen and Amy and Walter and of course little Charlie, and the joy that they chose to bring into the lives of a lot of us, and that they continue to by just living and sharing it. And pray that we would take a lot of the good examples that are put forward there and seek to want to uplift others. Pray that you would guide all of us bears and the non-bears that are out there, and make what we think, say, and do ever more important, that we get it right, that we do what's good. Help us be very clear that there is an objective moral standard that you've set on those things, that our fruit, that which comes forth from us, our thoughts, our words, and our actions are all something you're very interested in, because it has an impact not only on us, but on everybody around us and on this very planet. I would think our thoughts and our words, even, not just our actions, can affect the world that we live in. Not just the people. And if we recognize that, then we start being willing to take up the responsibility to impact that in a positive way and be restorative to the whole world, just by thinking and speaking and acting in accordance with what you've taught us is good and complete and whole. We thank you and we praise you, and we lift all these things up to you in the name of your Son, Yeshua, our Lord and Savior. Amen. Bears, I'm glad we can do that kind of stuff. Really didn't see this show go in that direction, but I'm like really, really thankful that it is. And it's making me think more deeply about what the future of this podcast will be. Making me think a lot more about what my future was supposed to be. So, absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad you guys asked. Probably wouldn't have thought to do it, but so many people are seeking it. Then, yeah, this is a place where we'll do that. And we'll keep growing this prayer list. We'll keep it going. And I'll try to date this here and remember when we've added certain things to the list. And I want to hear back and about how these situations are growing. And then maybe some of these supplications, these requests, turn into praises in the midst of it. Hey there, controversy. Glad you could come, even if we're toward the end of the deal here. Yeah. That's man, that's having a bit of an effect on me. I'm just a dude. I'm just a guy. But I'm glad you guys offered or suggested that you'd like to have me lead prayer here, because shoot, I'm in the midst of stuff just as much as anybody. My beautiful lady and I both. She's off on her way today. I should have put that on the list. Father, that you'd be with my beautiful lady while she's out there taking care of other people's puppies, and that she's trying to do a good job out there. And you always do. I know you do. But it's good to say it. It's good to request it. Just help her know that she's got plenty of minds and hearts thinking on her while she's going through her stuff. She's not alone by any means. Thank you for being in my life, because I'm really grateful. That's right, guys. Be thankful for all the people that are in your life. Take something simple like that. Taking time to think about how can you be lifting other people up makes an impact on you. I'm telling you that like personal experience. Like right now in this moment, it's impacting me in a way I didn't expect. It's not like the first time I've tried to go and think about other people, but whenever I do, in some way where I wasn't thinking maybe I'm the guy, suddenly I'm the guy to do that thing, whatever it be. And I'm like, okay, but that doesn't mean like, oh, cool, I'm the guy. Look at me, man. Nothing. No. As soon as it gets going there, see that thought in your mind. If it comes up, and like, wait a minute, hold off. I remember, what is it? Tim Allen, back when he did that show Home Improvement, there was an episode. This is just coming to my mind now. It's just popping in now, this image, but I think it's worth sharing. The guy who was the owner of Binford Tools, John Binford, was the big owner there. And he, apparently the character in the show died. And Tim was kind of broken up about that. But he didn't show it overtly. But I guess when John Binford died, you know, he's talking about it with his wife later, and he was really thinking about that, and he was feeling bad because his first thought when it happened was, am I still going to have a show? You know, the whole reason he had his Tool Time show in that show was because John Binford saw him as a tool salesman and then said, no, this guy needs to be doing like a show that promotes our tools or something and promotes home improvement and all that kind of stuff. It's like, I wouldn't even had that opportunity without John Binford. And now that he's dead, like my first thought is, am I still going to be famous? Am I still going to get recognized on the street? Like that thought went through his mind. And he immediately knew, okay, that's selfish. That's not like a useful thought, but he couldn't prevent it from happening, right? That the thought from flying. He didn't like dwell on it. He just dwelled at first on like, wow, there's something wrong with me. That's where my mind went first, or that thought flew through there. You could spend a lot of unnecessary time beating yourself up because you have random thoughts that fly through your head that may not be as virtuous as you want them to be. It's not a worthwhile thing to worry about because you're going to have stray thoughts. And we at our core are not good. The human heart is evil. The human heart doesn't want to do good things all the time. We are capable of good. We've got good in us, but our natural state is to do self-focused, not good stuff. We have to work harder to do good. We have to intentionally engage in doing good. I love music because I can share that message in my music. Even if I'm not like creating my own stuff, sitting in and serving somebody else's music by being the best I can be at drums or whatever I'm playing, guitar, something. I have the ability to try and make their music sound better and communicate their message better. So that pursuit of controlling my ability to execute certain sounds and tones and moods, it's a big responsibility, you know? And yeah, there's a degree of notoriety that can come with that. But I have a bigger responsibility to make sure I hold that justly, that I don't allow it to overtake me and become, I don't know, something that I don't want to be, to become a conceited, big-headed, obnoxious dork. That's not good for anybody. It's a bad deal. So the pursuit of that is also the pursuit of humility in it, because you don't get better being a big jerk. Can you get better being a big jerk? It's possible, but you're not as effective. Some of the best musicians I know of are some of the coolest, humblest guys you've ever seen. Steve Gadd, one of the greatest drummers of all time, and he's just like the coolest dude. He's just so chill, and he's so grateful that people even come to see him and hear him at clinics and performances and stuff. I mean, he knows, okay, yeah, I'm Steve Gadd. Like, he knows that. But at the same time, he doesn't sit in that because that will destroy him, right? If you sit in that mindset, I'm Steve Gadd, I'm awesome, right? Anybody who sits in that is then going to think, I don't really have to try. I can sit on the fact that I'm Steve Gadd. That takes me to a Crowder quote that he said at the end of a show not long ago. He's like, I constantly tell my team, you can't rest on what we did today. Do your greatest, do your best job. But then however funny, however awesome that show was, do not rest on that. Do not like try to tell the audience, I'm just going to rest on what I did in the last stream and you'll be digging it because of what I did yesterday. No, you've got to come each day as if there's no history, there's no background. You're there to do the best show you can that day, right? And that is how you stay in a humble mindset in doing what we're doing. You have to think about, I want to give them the best each time. We have to constantly be about the business of giving our best to others every day. And that puts us in this place to stay humble. I don't do it well. I fail on it a lot. But I'm not going to quit trying. I'm not going to quit pursuing that. It's not that I do it. It's that I pursue it. And the pursuit, I think, is what makes us better. We are on a journey of pursuit of what's good. Yeah, I think that about wraps it up. That'd work. Well, guys, I'm really grateful that we could talk today about this kind of stuff. I really didn't know where this show was going to go today at first, but silly little Norwegian joke book that inspired me to think about, thank God it's Friday. And toes go in first when you put those shoes on. That's how they work. Sometimes I need simple reminders like that. I need to be humbled a little bit and say, take it back a step. You know, just work it out one thing at a time. You're not as awesome as you think you are sometimes, and that's okay, because you're not as awesome as you might think you are. Let's fix that. Change your thinking. You can still do awesome stuff, right? It's important. Hey, love all y'all too. You know, it's Friday. It's the weekend getting ready to start here, so get out there and engage your mind, engage your body, and engage your heart, and seek to serve the ultimate purpose. I love you guys. You guys build this thing up huge, and I'm grateful for it. Peace, bears. Okay, so didn't do my fade out right again, but that's okay. I was going to come back in and do one little fun thing because it's fun to do. Oh, excuse my nose. A couple other of these because they're just fun. So this is hilarious. Norwegian snowmobile. Special deluxe model only. It's $49.50 plus tax. The Norwegian snowmobile. I love this stuff, man. It's so ridiculous. Do Norwegian teachers have ESP? Yes, extra simple pupils. So silly. And you could probably apply some of these to any background, I suppose. Let's see. Oh yeah, here's an Ole and Lena bit. Here's an Ole and Lena bit just for you. Let's see. Ole, the Norwegian, loved his wife Lena, even though she was a bad cook and left the food on the burner too long. When she finally presented Ole with a new baby, everyone in town held their breath. When it was learned the baby had a rather dusty skin. But that didn't bother Ole. He just smiled and said, "Yeah, that Lena, she just burns everything." Not sure what just happened there, but yeah, that's a little intense. I wasn't seeing that go on. I don't know what they mean by dusty skin. Not sure what was happening with that. But it's an Ole and Lena joke. I thought that Barry Happy would appreciate that. Oh, my goodness. Let's see here. Oh, my goodness. Mission Impossible is planning a special on TV. Going to try to give a Norwegian a bath. Wow. Oh, here's the last one that I thought would be funny. Norwegian Christmas card. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. It's a Norwegian Christmas card. What did I miss? No L. Oh, man. Let's see here. Last one. I can't do all of these, but definitely some. A Norwegian noticed his car being stolen, so he chased it down the street trying to copy down the license number. Ever wonder who invented streaking? You want to know where streaking came from? It was a Norwegian who mistook Bengay for preparation H. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's a bad deal. Yeah. Yeah, it's let's just say icy hot or any of those type of creams like that. You want to be extremely careful when you're doing application on your thigh muscles or anything like that. If they get too close to the midsection, the center section of there, you can have a bad day. I won't. I'm not Norwegian. Yeah, atomic bomb. It's bad. It's not good. Don't be Norwegian in that way. But Norwegians are pretty funny, apparently, according to these folks. So you should very happy. It's a good thing. It's an appropriate deal once in a while. There's plenty of good German jokes out there. Maybe one of these days I'll get a German joke book from somewhere and share some of that stuff, or write some German comedy. I'm sure there's plenty of it out there. It'll be all like Nazi jokes, like through and through. Anne Frank was joking about us, I think, right? And I never did find what the actual jokes were that were in the secret pages of her diary. Supposedly there was a real article that some of that had been found, but I never heard what some of the actual bits were that she wrote in there. I'd love to find out more. It'd be interesting. At any rate, that's all for now. Have an actual good weekend, Bears. Pieces.